What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlemania here, back with another video. Wow, who would have thought it? Wrestlemania in an empty arena. It's just weird because we really felt no hype for it. Did WWE manage to pull it off given the restrictions imposed by our ongoing health crisis? Join us now as Wrestlemania recaps Night 1 of this year's Wrestlemania and looks at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of the show. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the pre-show, which saw Drew GULAK vs CESARO. Now this match was really added at the 12th hour, or should we say announced at the 12th hour. These matches were all pre-taped about 2 weeks in advance. But this seems like an exciting one as Drew shows off his incredible counter-wrestling skills, and the story is GULAK's constant escapes from CESARO's attempts to hit the Gotch neutralizer. CESARO's power proves too much and he hits an airplane spin on GULAK for the pinfall. Wow, he even had no hands on those last few rotations. The winner, of course, is CESARO. Then we go on to the main show and Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley start the show with some back and forth banter. The first match on the card is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match between champions the Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. The challengers come out strong, but a misstep leaves Nikki Cross on her own for most of the match. Thankfully, Cross is able to take everything Asuka and Kairi Sane can dish out, with Cross tagging in Bliss, Twisted Bliss on Kairi Sane for the win, and we have new Women's Tag Team Championships. There was nothing wrong with this, but where the hell was Kairi Sane's pirate ship? Next up, it's King Corbin versus AIAS. Corbin is looking for a forfeit win, but Elias surprises him by showing up and blasting him with his guitar. There's a good brawl between both men that sees Elias steal a win while Corbin is arguing with the referee. Whew, plenty of shouting during this match. There's not even any need to shout. There's no crowd. A handful of tights gives Elias the extra help he needs, and surprisingly, he wins the match. Yeah, we didn't see that one coming at all, especially how Elias has been booked on SmackDown. Next up, it's the Raw Women's Championship match as the man Becky Lynch takes on Shayna Baszler. Baszler uses her raw power and MMA background to punish the champion, locking her in the Kirifuda clutch. However, Lynch takes a page out of the Bret Hart vs Roddy Piper Intercontinental Championship match from Mania 8, rolling Baszler up for the surprise pin. Yeah, Becky retains. Again, we really didn't even see that one coming either, but more on that later. Next up is the Intercontinental Championship match between champion Sami Zayn with CESARO and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Daniel Bryan who's with Drew GULAK. GULAK manages to keep CESARO and Nakamura at bay, allowing Bryan to pummel Zayn senseless. However, when CESARO and Nakamura blindside GULAK, Bryan goes after the Artists Collective outside the ring, giving Zayn the breather he needs to counter Bryan's top rope dive with a haluva kick, covering Bryan for the win. Sami Zayn retains the Intercontinental Championship. Next, it's a strange one, as it's a triple threat ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, but it only involves one member of each team, that being John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston versus Jimmy Uso. Now the Performance Center is a particularly bad venue for a ladder match, but all three competitors put in a solid performance. There's a clever finish as all three men are on top of the ladder with the belts in their hands. However, when the Uso and Kingston clobber Morrison, he falls off the ladder with the titles in hand, getting the Duke. John Morrison and The Miz retain the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It's actually the first time in history that this has actually happened. Next up, it's Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. A seesaw battle that sees Rollins going for an easy out when he grabs the timekeeper's bell and rings Owens' bell, leading to a disqualification? Yeah, a DQ at Mania. How original. However, Owens isn't letting Rollins off that easy and demands the match to continue under no disqualification rules. Rollins gets the early advantage using every implement at hand to batter KO, but Owens refuses to quit and finally launches a big comeback. There's an incredibly sick bump as Owens dives off the WrestleMania 36 sign, smashing Seth Rollins through the announce table. Owens throws Rollins into the ring, hits a stunner, and a 3 count later is your winner. Please God, could we put an end to this feud now? It's been going on for weeks. Next up is the Universal Championship match as champion Bill Goldberg takes on Braun Strowman. Goldberg knows he's got his work cut out for him and escapes an early power slam attempt by Strowman, hitting 3 spears on the monster among men. He covers, but Strowman kicks out. Goldberg hits another spear and goes for the jackhammer, but Strowman slips, out power slamming him multiple times to get the victory. Yes, Braun Strowman is the new Universal Champion. Again, more on that later. And finally, the main event is the Boneyard match between AJ Styles versus The Undertaker. This match was more like the final scene in an action movie, but incredibly, it worked beyond anyone's expectations. Taker even came back with his American badass persona, something that was speculated for weeks. And to be honest, it really felt natural. The Undertaker destroyed AJ Styles until Gallows and Anderson showed up with some backup, that being some random druids that were hiding in a shed, and they started pummeling The Undertaker down. Styles threw The Undertaker in a grave, but like many men before him, he underestimated his opponent and found himself face to face with the Phenom teleporting just behind him. From there, Taker proceeded to destroy the Good Brothers, then Styles, dropping AJ into the grave and burying him with dirt thanks to a nearby bulldozer. WrestleMania closes out with The Undertaker riding his Harley off into the sunset. Okay, not quite, but he won the match. But that was a quick recap of WrestleMania. Let's look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, a good pre-show. The WWE's pay-per-view pre-shows are notorious for being all over the place with too many talk segments and pointless videos. Tonight's opener stayed focused with Corey Graves and Peter Rosenberg hyping the matches, while acknowledging tonight's WrestleMania would be unlike any other. Bloody hell were they right. The pre-show did its job, hyping and announcing matches, and hopefully future shows will follow its example. Number 2, Gronk adds some energy. Rob Gronkowski helped add some fun to the opening, with Mojo Rawley joining him to the kickoff show. Now it's hard to deny Gronk's infectious enthusiasm, and using him to hype the show was a wise move. The only drawback was the WWE didn't actually use him as much. With the amount of silence that went on through the whole WrestleMania, we probably would have welcomed a few more shots of him. Number 3, a solid start. Every pay-per-view should start with a strong match, and the Kabuki Warriors vs Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross delivered, providing lots of action and the classic babyface in distress situation, with Nikki Cross having to endure a brutal double team by the tag champions for far too long. However, Cross demonstrated incredible heart, helping elevate her as she and Bliss regained the tag team titles. Oh, and can we just say, Asuka is just pure joy. She's just wild 24/7, we love it. Number 4, a terrific triple threat. Truth be told, a ladder match is not the best match to be held at the Performance Center, as the PC is just too small and all you can hear is that damn ladder. Nevertheless, all 3 competitors fought hard and wrestled as if they were performing in front of 80,000 fans. All 3 performers over-delivered, and the inspired ending was a wise way for Morrison to retain the tag team titles while keeping Kofi and Jimmy looking strong. Number 5, Braun's big win. After what seems like an eternity running around in circles, Braun Strowman's career has finally reached the top, with the monster among men getting the belt that's eluded him for years, the Universal Championship. It was the right time, and although Roman Reigns would likely have won the belt had he competed, it's good the WWE put the belt on a full-time performer and someone who has the size to project a world champion. And number 6, the Boneyard match. When the WWE hinted that at least one of their matches would have a cinematic feel, fans wondered what to expect. It's unlikely many fans expected the Undertaker vs AJ Styles Boneyard match to look more like a movie than a wrestling match, but the bottom line is the match delivered. It hid the Undertaker's age-related limitations and made the most out of a location match, complete with opening titles, solid cinematography, and background music. The concept of a match as a movie may have sounded like a bad idea on paper, but it was the perfect ending to an uneven Mania. The Boneyard match may be the wave of the future as the WWE incorporates cinematic elements with wrestling, adding to a match's excitement. Vince McMahon has long talked about how he sees the WWE as more than wrestling, and that it's an action-adventure in an episodic form mixed with a little romance and comedy. This match not only upped Mania's standing in our opinion, but may get fans tuning in for tomorrow's Firefly Funhouse match between John Cena and The Fiend. Well, that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, no audience, big problem. Now, we'll certainly give WWE its props for running its biggest show of the year, despite the company likely taking a $22 million hit due to it having no audience. We also like to commend the wrestlers for giving it their absolute all, as some of these wrestlers were probably even doing double duty that same day, as they had a lot to record in such little time. Still, there was something seriously off with the show taking place with no fans and at a venue that looked like a dress-up set of 205 Live. WrestleMania 36 didn't look like WrestleMania and should have been called WrestleMania. The WWE is to be commended for giving the world some much needed entertainment, but this wasn't the showcase of the Immortals. Number 2. Too many camera cuts. One of the few positives of WrestleMania taking place at the Performance Center is that the show was pre-taped, allowing the WWE to use clever camera angles and edits to improve the show's visuals and cover any botches. The problem is that whoever was in charge of the editing thought that they were Quentin Tarantino, using far too many unnecessary fast cuts. It was hard to follow the action at times, and that's something you don't want with sports entertainment. Having the luxury of a pre-taped show doesn't mean you're trying to make the next avant-garde film. Number 3. Baszler's bad booking. Becky Lynch's win over Shayna Baszler was a bad move by the WWE, and for 3 reasons. The first is that it completely devalued Baszler as a monster heel, particularly after her dominant run in NXT. Second, it made Baszler's monstrous win over her opponents at the Elimination Chamber meaningless, and it hurt the women she steamrolled over. After all, if Baszler could beat 5 WWE wrestlers by herself, why couldn't she beat Becky? Finally, Lynch has no opponents to face unless they decided to go with Becky versus Shayna too. A curious finish to a well-hyped match. Number 4. The stage. Oof, there's no getting around the fact that the WrestleMania stage and set was a disappointment. The WWE has had 3 weeks to dress the Performance Center, and while the 3rd April SmackDown hinted the WWE show of shows might look good, it kinda didn't. Okay, admittedly we're a little spoilt here, considering the first few WrestleManias only had a damn curtain. Still, they had time and they could have made it just a little bit different. Number 5. Where's Zayn's ship? Fans have been waiting nearly a year to see Kairi Sane's pirate ship, and the WWE dropped the ball. They've been hyping the pirate theme and it failed to deliver, particularly with Zayn, aka the Pirate Princess. Little things like this could have helped the fans forget the show being held at the Performance Center. And number 6, a world title train wreck. Wrestlemania has seen many world championship matches, but it's difficult to recall one where both competitors look so limited in the ring. Going into the match, fans knew Goldberg wasn't going to dazzle anyone with a variety of moves, but he and Strowman stuck to one move apiece: Goldberg's spear and Strowman's power slams. It was a poor showing by both men that made the Ultimate Warrior look like Daniel Bryan. Granted, Goldberg is extremely limited in the ring and he wasn't planning on fighting Strowman, but nonetheless, this match will likely go down in history as one of the worst WrestleMania matches ever. But that was the good, the bad. What about the downright ugly? Now, WrestleMania's first night bordered on the ugly at times, whether it was Becky Lynch's win over Shayna Baszler or the incredibly bad match between Braun Strowman and Bill Goldberg. Nevertheless, things balanced themselves out, and while this show doesn't deserve to be called WrestleMania, it provided some much needed entertainment. And we still tip our hats off to the WWE for doing that. But there you have it, guys, our recap and analysis for night 1 of WrestleMania 36. What did you guys think of the show? What did you guys think of Braun Strowman's big win? What did you think of the Boneyard match? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.